Hey everybody, what is going on? It is Rick, and I'm back with the final week of August reviews. One physical title to talk about. Let's see, two movies that we saw in theaters, a couple HBO Max films, and a Hulu film. So we're going to dive right in. Today, the day I'm recording this, is October the 2nd. So I realized that I was caught up on videos and hadn't recorded anything. Last weekend was extremely busy, so I decided to at least record two videos this weekend to have videos for this upcoming week, and then I'll try to record a bunch this upcoming week and next weekend. And I probably have I probably have another 4 weeks worth of content to record, so plenty of content still coming to the channel. Happy spooky season to all you Halloween folks who are into the spooky movies. We've been actually diving into horror movies in the last couple weeks just because we can't watch a horror movie every day in October, but we have a list that we're working on. But this, like I said, is reviews from the last week of August. 6 movies to talk about. Like I said, the first one here is the only physical media film I watched, and that was the movie Singles on DVD. So I'd heard a lot of great things about this. This is a Russell Crowe film. It takes place in the 90s grunge era, and we had recently watched an episode of Dark Side of the 90s about the grunge era, and they talked about this movie. It also stars Matt Dillon. Not also stars, I haven't talked about who it stars. It's a Cameron Crowe movie starring Matt Dillon, Bridget Fonda, Keira Sedgwick, Bill Pullman, Jim True, Bridget Fonda, I think it said, Campbell Scott. So it's basically about early 90s Seattle. This movie is from 1992. Quite a fan of most Cameron Crowe movies that I've seen. Some of them I really love. So this was the last movie of Cameron Crowe's that I had never seen before. I kept hearing how fantastic the soundtrack of the film is, and it is. It's an outstanding grunge soundtrack from the 90s. Alice in Chains, Soundgarden, and Pearl Jam. And they actually are in the film as well in little roles. Pearl Jam plays the supporting band of Matt Dillon, so that's pretty fun. The movie's good. Definitely a movie of its time, 90s Seattle, with the grunge movement. It's basically about a bunch of people who are dating and, like I said, in bands looking for a significant other, and it's not anything spectacular. Like, I know a lot of people really love this movie, and I definitely appreciate it. I really enjoyed the soundtrack, but this actually probably won't make the shelf. This was like a one-time watch for me, honestly, because it's not something that I was like, oh, that's, I have to see that again. But it's a good movie. I give it a 3 out of 5. Don't really have a ton to say about it. Like I said, it's a fun look at a group of people in 1990s Seattle. It's more of a romance film. There's some comedic aspects. Like I said, the music is fantastic. It's a big part of the story as well, the music. So, Singles, I gave a 3 out of 5. Definitely recommend checking it out if you haven't seen it. I would definitely grab the soundtrack if I ever came across it, for sure. Next up, we're going to talk about a film called Unpregnant, which is an HBO Max exclusive. The movie is about a girl named Veronica who's getting ready to head to Brown University. She's top of her class. And the movie starts out with Veronica at school in a bathroom taking a pregnancy test and finding out the pregnancy test is positive. You then meet her former best friend, Bailey, who walks in the bathroom, and she's offering to help this person in the bathroom because the girl dropped a pregnancy test and she saw it was positive. And then she kind of comes out. This is all in the first 5 minutes. She comes out of the bathroom and she's like, "Oh, Miss Perfect, what did you do?" So they decide to take a road trip, basically from Missouri to New Mexico, because she's underage and wants to get an abortion. So this movie is almost similar to the film Plan B, which we had watched probably a month or two ago, which I thought was fantastic. Lots of heart, lots of humor. This movie is also very good. This feature focuses more on like two ex-friends rebonding and why they kind of separated in the first place. There's humor in the story, but not as much as Plan B has. And obviously, this tackles a tough thing that some people won't like, and other people have very strong opinions on. Talking about abortion. And but a movie I recommend if you're looking for something to watch. Like I said, I want to say the main girl is Haley Lou Richardson. I hope I'm not wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's who it was. She was in Split. But I gave Unpregnant a 3 out of 5. Definitely worth checking out for sure. I personally would recommend Plan B over Unpregnant personally. The next thing we watched was, wow, just threes all around. The next movie we watched was Jungle Cruise. We saw that in movie theaters with our Regal Unlimited pass. Went into this movie with fairly low expectations. I am a fan of The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, and Emily Blunt. And knew it was going to be like a fun family adventure movie, and that's definitely what it is. It's a family adventure film for all ages. There's some dark characters and moments, but I think this is pretty appropriate for the entire family. I've never seen the Pirates of the Caribbean movies. I've recently acquired, I believe, the first two because I'm told that those are the best. I'm not a big fan of Johnny Depp, so I've just never watched them. But I got serious. Like, I even said to my girlfriend Bridget, who's seen the movies, like, I'm getting very heavy, like, what I think Pirates of the Caribbean would be like. And she said that was pretty accurate. Lots of, like, fantastical elements to the story. There's a few twists that I guess were necessary, but felt a little over top, a little bit too much eye rolling going on for me in those to keep, take the movie seriously or, not discredit it big time. Jack Whitehall was really funny. He played Emily Blunt's brother. And, like I said, you technically get to see the return of The Rock in this film. That is an in-joke. If you've seen Jungle Cruise, you will get the reference. So The Rock returns to movie theaters, to the big screen. But I gave Jungle Cruise a 3 out of 5. Definitely one that was a fun watch. I don't necessarily know if I would need to revisit it, if I'm going to add it to my physical media collection. But it was a fun watch nonetheless. And speaking of wrestlers turned actors, the next movie we watched was on Hulu, and that was a film called Vacation Friends, a movie that wasn't even on my radar until I was going through Wikipedia, because I looked through like films that are getting released in 2021 to keep track of what's coming out, and saw it was listed. It featured John Cena and Lil Rel Howery. The movie is a ton of fun. It is a really good R-rated comedy. Something we don't get a lot of anymore is like an R-rated, gross out, drugs and sex comedy. And that's what this movie was. It was very funny. The story's pretty predictable, but it's still a fun time. There were lots of laugh out loud moments for me throughout the runtime personally. The chemistry between Lil Rel and John Cena was really well done. They had great chemistry on scene. And I really wish more R-rated comedies like this came out. An original idea for an R-rated comedy. There's already talks that they're going to make a sequel to this. I'm intrigued to see what a sequel would offer, as the characters in this film had good chemistry together. And I think will be a lot of fun to see again. The movie, like I said, good pacing. A good job of telling like a story that has consistent laughs throughout. It has some heart as well, which wasn't like eye-rollingly annoying. Sometimes when they add heart to an R-rated comedy, it's not necessary. But yeah, I thought it was well done in this. Clay Tarver was the writer and director of the film. Previously, he had written and directed Joyride, as well as multiple seasons of Silicon Valley, where he wrote an episode but was executive producer for all but one season. And I'm a big fan of that. So I hope Clay Tarver continues to make movies, because this was really fun. Vacation Friends, I gave a 3.5 out of 5 to. Just a fun watch that I would recommend. Next up, we watched a day and date exclusive to HBO Max, and that is Reminiscence, which stars Hugh Jackman and Rebecca Ferguson. Saw this trailer and I thought it was an intriguing premise, but also had worries that the movie could be too long or possibly too weird or convoluted of a story. I think the pacing hurt this movie big time. I found it to be very slow, and I found the actual premise to be almost overly simple for what the trailer led you to believe. And, it almost felt like a low budget Inception in parts. Like I said, so Hugh Jackman is the star of the film. He becomes obsessed with a character named May, who comes in. There's a machine, and it helps you like relive your memories. It's a weird premise. Rebecca Ferguson plays May. Like I said, they use the machine to help like find who committed crimes. And it's like a post-apocalyptic world that's mostly underwater. But the visual style, like I said, doesn't offer much new that, Inception did 11 years prior, and in a much more entertaining way. So I gave Reminiscence a 2 out of 5. Not one I would recommend. Personally, was not a big fan. The last movie we watched in April was Candyman, the 2021 film. We saw that in theaters with our Regal Unlimited membership, and I was incredibly intrigued to see this movie when I first saw the trailer. I believe it's produced by Jordan Peele. I don't know if I have his name. I know his first name's Yahya. I want to say it's Yahya Abdin Abdul II. I know his first name is Yahya, but he's very good as the lead role in this film. The movie looked really creepy. Like I said, Jordan Peele was attached as a co-writer and a producer. So Monkey Paw Productions, who is the company that Jordan Peele owns, has produced films like Keanu, Black Klansman, Get Out, Us, and now Candyman. So they're pretty much crushing it. I enjoyed all 5 of those films quite a bit. So the movie has a problem for me to get going. Like, it takes too much time to like get the story ramped up. The first like 40 minutes were a bit slow, but once they get the ball rolling, the movie is very interesting. There's some really cool kill scenes, although I wish there was almost more horror elements to the movie. Also, the movie is very socially important. It talks about gentrification in Chicago, and it is connected to the original 3 Candyman movies. I've seen the first one. I haven't seen number 2 or 3. I do own the second one, but haven't seen 2 or 3 yet. I wish there's a part of the movie, and I don't want to get into spoilers, where I wish they would have explored the history of the Candyman more, and they kind of just gloss over it quickly, which was a bit of a bummer, because instead of wasting the first 45 minutes doing stuff that really didn't add to the story, there's a part where they could really have expanded on the history of Candyman, and it would have made for a more interesting beginning of the film. That's just a nitpick, though, because, like I said, the gore was well done. There was also this thing where they cut away from a lot of the violence, which was weird, especially as it's an R-rated horror film. For a slasher-type movie, it seemed a bit bizarre. But overall, very entertaining and a watchable flick. Not sure how much rewatchability a movie like this has. I always say that I feel like 1 out of every 8, 9 horror movies has rewatchability. Most of the others are like a one-time watch personally for me. So I gave Candyman 2021 a 3.5 out of 5. Definitely one I recommend checking out. It'll be coming out in physical media in November. Still playing in some theaters as well. But that is it, guys. That is everything that we watched in August. So we'll talk about the surprise of the month and hot trash of the month. Surprise of the month, I should have grabbed this Blu-ray before I started recording, but we'll pop up a picture of the poster right here, and that is Wait Until Dark, which starred Audrey Hepburn. Basically like a play on film, but a fantastic suspense movie. Audrey Hepburn was excellent in the film, and it was a great suspense thriller from the, I believe, late 1960s, if I'm not mistaken. So that is my surprise of the month. Definitely wasn't expecting that to be as entertaining as it was. And Hot Trash of the Month, the, the, the King of the Garbage, is a movie that was sent to me digitally to check out. And that is the film Habit, which starred Bella Thorne and Gavin Rossdale. And it was just a very messy film. Luckily, kept to like a 70 or 75 minute runtime, thankfully. Not one I recommend checking out. It was pretty awful. I know Jay over at Absolute Sublime checked it out and thought it was really awful as well. But yeah, it was not something I'd recommend. This is my new Step Brothers shirt, by the way. You have to call me Dragon. You have to call me Nighthawk. So, yes. So that is it, guys. That is everything I checked out in August. I'll shift back over now that the posters are done popping up next to me, and there were a lot of them in this video. As always, guys, I appreciate you watching. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Leave your comments down below. Let me know what you thought of my reviews. Let me know what you guys have been watching. Also, check out the description box down below where you can find links to my Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Letterboxd, where I rate and review all the movies that I watch, my eBay store, my Amazon wishlist, Blu-ray.com profile. All can be found down below, along with my email address and my P.O. box. And that is it, guys. So hopefully you enjoyed this video. Until next time, who's down to movie? Baby.